Good evening, everyone. So today is September 20th. Can you believe it? We're moving into the fall equinox. Last thing I remembered, it was the summer solstice. So maybe it is possible that either time is speeding up or my life is speeding up. So good to see you all. And those of you, I know quite a few said they'll be watching the replay. So glad to have you here. And basically tonight is Juliet's presentation. I just wanted to kind of touch base to start with and share the excitement about what we're doing. And if you haven't been invited yet into the app, you will be, because everyone's going to be in it. We're just right now starting with a small number. So what we're doing is I'm working with somebody in New Zealand, very, very accomplished, to produce and create the Dreamscope native app. And how it's going to navigate is there'll be a beautiful logo, of course, on the app. Once somebody downloads the app and they say yes for push notifications, so we have that element built in, they'll see the book covers. Dreamscope books and Dreamway Press, all within the same display of covers. When they click on a cover, it's going to open up a page that's going to have a little short bio and a short synopsis and a click to watch the trailer. From that point on, because all of you, most of you that have, obviously everyone that's on the app now is going to be, part of the first level of it, already have the trailers. What everyone's going to be making on their own is the videos that I'll share with you in a moment. And that is that we're going to take each chapter and create a video. So like when you go on Netflix and you see episodes, episode 1, and there's a name, and there's a name for the episode 2 and 3, there'll be the chapter titles, and then there'll be the video. They'll click on it, and so the chapter title and the number, chapter 1, whatever it is, see Jane run, whatever. And as they click on it, this is up to the artists, and that's where I'm giving really carte blanche to create what you want to create. It's a summation of the chapter, but it also is the opportunity to be very creative in how you deliver it. So you want to give them an experience of what the essence of that chapter is. And then each sequence, they'll get a holistic picture of the entire book. This is really coming out of my place when I first created the M2 ebook, M squared ebook, which we did with a lot of incredible authors and best-selling authors. And what I loved about that was we took a book like Irvin Laszlo's 350-page book, distilled it down to 20 pages, and had people like Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson that were on video when you clicked on, or actually they auto-played. And I loved the experience because it gave you the fullness of what the book is. And then having other, people on video, it's more, a little bit, it gives you, that direct experience. So that's where we're going to go. And each person that becomes part of the app also is going to have access to the push notifications. To me, that's a really, really exciting component to this, because all of you hopefully are going to be doing events. Like I was just talking with Linda, and Linda has 2 book signings already in New York City. So if the app was built now and you navigated, you went on there, and for instance, you clicked on let's say Linda's book, you clicked on it, you would see a trailer, you'd have the synopsis and a little bio, and then you'd see in a horizontal line the chapters, the chapter title, click on it and have that experience with the author. So the push notification aspect of it is when you do events, it probably will go to me, and then it'll go on to the developer, whatever. Like, so Linda, you have a book signing Friday night in New York at a particular bookstore. Type that in, send it, and then that'll go out. So everyone that has the app will get a push notification, ding, and they'll look at it. And it's going to be much more impactful than doing emailing, where, for myself, I get probably 100 junk mail, and a lot of them are events, things going on. I just click them off because I didn't have an experience with it. It's just there it's sitting there on the page with all of the other emails, junk emails usually. So that process is we're looking at launching it around the holidays. Right now, almost exclusively everyone in it, the book will be out. There are a couple, maybe two or three, or in this first grouping that we've done, that the book won't be out until a little bit later, maybe a little into the new year. But how we'll do that is it'll be the same thing, because also it's the bookstore as well. So when they see to buy or pre-order, whatever, we'll have that there. And it just won't be engaged until the book's accessible through Amazon, which we built in. So that's the big picture there. And it's giving you all sort of those who are participating, and hopefully, I mean, all the authors eventually want, this is like a bookstore. They'll have perhaps 100 books in it. We really want to support this feeling of community, which I'm feeling really, really strong about. So I think this is a way to do that. I have some ideas how we'll continue. So just, well, I'll be keeping you all aware of all the new developments, and then inviting people in. So if your book is not out yet, eventually all the books will be in there. We just want to start it with a smaller number, kind of eclectic books. So that leads us to what tonight's about, which is really empowering you all to create video, to create content, to create media, because really this is a distinction of where the publishing industry was when I first was published to where it is now. When the flip came out, it was traditionally published. Borders bought 3,000 books. We had book signings. There was radio. We had a radio tour. We got on radio and such. And now the accessibility to mainstream media is maybe not as easy, because there's so much content, but the platforms out there. And so where we're going, and what Juliet's really going to share, is like creating media and really know that that's an aspect of being an author right now, and your comfort. So I'm going to lead to Juliet, and she'll take us on this journey about creating media, the challenges, the opportunities, and everything else under the sun. So you all know Juliet. You have the floor.
Thank you. Can you enable me, please? You will never hear me say that again, by the way. Don't enable me to do it.
I love it. You're gonna be presenting.
I have a PowerPoint that they can take pictures of, but yeah, I'm gonna talk for the most part.
You got it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna mute myself, so everyone probably should mute it. Really makes a difference.
Yeah, save your questions or put them in the chat. Slideshow from the beginning. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, I'm giving this talk because I know there are a lot of you that are new to the book world, but you're also new to having a business and a recession. So I as someone who has been through 2 recessions with my company right now, I see it coming. I'm looking at the numbers. And so I want to share with you what are the best practices, because when we think we're getting less clients or less readers, we need to do more, basically. And sometimes that seems really overwhelming. So I want you to be your own best media during this time period, producing lots of content. And I'm going to talk about easy ways to do this and some ways you can monetize some of that as well. So really embracing that power that you have with your personal influence. So over the last 10 years, we have seen a very interesting pattern going on. As you can see, mainstream media, the traditional mainstream media it started out at a very high level in 2011, and it's steadily going downhill. What that means is people are tuning out. As we become more media savvy and more niched, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, people are looking for those people who can educate them, inspire them, entertain them. And so this is your opportunity. You can see from 2011 that the independent media, which is you guys, has actually risen to a higher level than the mainstream media ever was. So taking advantage of this is really your way to get out there and not only sell more books, but sell more. If you're a coach, sell those coaching packages. If you're a consultant, get that visibility. So now that we're moving into a slower period of time and money, tighter money, that's going to be really important for you to grab that and really take advantage of it. So there are some things about creating your own media that you want to be aware of. This is nurture content. So with a raise of hands here, how many of you love it when somebody gets on the phone with you and gives you a hardcore sales pitch? Anybody? Yeah, that's right. Nobody. So what this does is it really provides an opportunity for you to shine and with your expertise. And I see Carrie Cassell's on here. She does this pretty well. She's a dietitian and she also combines coaching with it, not just dietitian, but life coaching. So she gets to the root of what's causing you to overeat or eat too much sugar. So she puts out a lot of content that's very niched in that area. And there aren't many dietitians that get to the root of it. So this is really nurture content where she stands out because she's doing something different, but she's producing a lot of content where people can really grab on to who she is and what she does. So the first part of this that you have to understand is your content has to be very niched. The mainstream media, the reason this is so beneficial to you guys is if you've ever been booked on TV or radio, that there are sound bites and it's really hard to get your message out in a 2 to 3 to 5 minute segment, and even harder if you're on a panel, because then it's like you have to share that 3 to 5 minutes with everybody else. So the wonderful thing about having your own media is it can be long form, it can be short form, or it can be informative. So personally, I have a podcast. If we have a great guest, you know, it'll last 30, 40. We've even had them an hour. But also if we have a podcast that's short form, we might limit it to 20 minutes. The one that I have out this week about my new book, Author Alchemy, I was short and sweet and to the point because I don't want to bore you to death about the book. You're either going to like it or you're not. But the whole point there is when you're really niche, people are looking for what you're doing and you can decide how long or short this information is. The next thing that's so fabulous about your own media is you can bring on diverse opinions. So if you have a longer format, you can bring on guests where maybe you debate. Like they may have a different idea about what you do and you debate the pros and cons of it. This is especially good in, you know, if you're in the political arena, which I hope to God none of you have a political book because you're probably going to get creamed right now. But, you know, if you have something that maybe is a little bit controversial, so maybe you're a DEI expert and you have someone on that, you know, you debate a little bit about the pros and cons of having DEI in the workplace or in the schools. So this really gives you an opportunity to present different ideas. I have an idea about how people should build a platform and market a book. But if you listen to my podcast, I also have people on that have other ways, because my way, it's not my way or the highway. It's let's present a bunch of ideas and see what reaches out and grabs you and your personality and the way you do it. So never be afraid when you're doing this to have people on, you know, whatever format you're choosing to sort of debate with you a little bit about it. The other one is the flexibility. So you can actually, when you have your own meeting, your own medium, you can mix it up. We have trainings once a month. We have guests. We have clients on. A lot of times we promote our power partners or have a related expert. So you can really keep the audience engaged as you're growing it with the flexibility to do what they need and do now. So a new app that's coming out. I don't know anybody who has a new app coming out, but he might be a possible future guest to talk about this new app and building community with it. So you can do a lot of that. You can present other products besides your own, because maybe your own just aren't right. So it's always great to have that flexibility in what you're presenting. Whoops, back up. And then leverage. This is what is so important about having your own media. Let's say you want to do we call it a pod swap. You can do YouTube swaps. You can do whatever you want with it. But let's say you want to get a good guest. Maybe you say to them, hey, would my stuff be great for your audience? Would my content be good for your audience too? Now you've developed something where you're getting exposure on someone else's platform, and they're getting exposure on yours. So I will actually tell you, I had that happen a while back. Somebody who is he's written many, many books on customer service. I had him on the podcast, and I exchanged something with him for being on that podcast. And it was really beneficial. It was probably one of our most watched, because I think everybody's tired of the AI, when one of the choices when you call in isn't your choice and you're screaming at the phone, get me a real person. So that was I can see just from my own frustration and what I've seen in others, that was a really popular podcast, because there are a lot of people out there who need to bring that up a level or two. So you can also use that media as a way to leverage something else from somebody that you need. Whoops, hold on, let me do something here. I ended up with the wrong button. Okay, so what are your options for content creation? There are a lot of new options out there that could benefit all of you, depending on how you like to present what you do. So I'm going to go through some of them with you, and hopefully, you'll take this and go explore some of them and see if they're right for you. So the first one is YouTube, and it's free. You literally open up your Zoom and you either record something yourself, or you have a guest that you can tag the guest. So using your YouTube channel is really beneficial. And I'm going to give you guys a hint here about something you can do when you have a really robust, when you're posting every week or a couple times a week. There's a product out now called opus.pro. And literally, I can take my YouTube link, run it through opus.pro. It's, I think, $21 a month. And it will give me clips of my podcast that I can use as shorts and promote on social media. So that's what I've been doing today, is running some of my old episodes through that are over on YouTube. And now I have promotional materials that are between 30 seconds and 90 seconds. So I can either pre-promote or I can promote afterwards. So my schedule with my YouTube channel is usually that I will do on the third day. So first day, Sunday in my content calendar, we present my blog. Monday in the calendar, we promote my YouTube to my LinkedIn newsletter, and third day we have a short over there. So it's a really great way, once you've created that YouTube content, to upload it and then go back and upload shorts as well. Shorts are really a great way to build your channel, because let's face it, nobody has any attention span anymore. So it's like a little teaser to get people to look at more of what's on your channel. And I will tell you, we're doing a lot of shorts for bestseller campaigns right now as well. So people have social media posts that are graphics, but they also have YouTube shorts as well with chapters of their book. And if you decide to do Jared's, you could also use, if you're using Jared's app, you could use those videos, again, over as shorts on YouTube. Sorry, skipped. Whoa, that's really fast. Here's another idea. Rumble is a lot like YouTube, but Rumble doesn't have algorithms that can get you deleted. So one of the things about YouTube is if you go over and monetize and you say something that they don't like, they will demonetize your channel and may delete it. So I'm going to give you an example of something that would immediately get you demonetized on YouTube. Let's say lovely Carrie, the dietitian, tells her obese clients that you need to lose a little weight, not really healthy with COVID. That would get Carrie demonetized, because YouTube is very pro-vax. They don't care about the health concerns around the vaccination. That would get her channel demonetized and possibly deleted. So that's why Rumble is a great alternative. They don't do that. They don't do it at all. Their algorithm is very favorable. It's also a video place to go, so you can upload your videos. Now, there are some really good things about Rumble as well. Rumble is connected to locals.com. So you can actually run lives on Rumble when you sign up in a particular way as a company. You can run lives on there. You can turn those lives into podcasts. You can take them over and upload them as podcasts for Apple, if you have the right criteria with it, for Apple and all of the other ones out there that you can can't talk today. Podcast platforms. Here's the other thing that's really cool about Rumble is that you can connect it with locals, and you can actually have a subscription channel that's not only monetized, but membershiped. So you can put a lot of content behind a paywall. I do this a lot. I have a subscription to Glenn Greenwald. I have a subscription to Matt Taibbi. I think Dan Bongino has one. And the really great part of this is because of the algorithms, everybody who switches from YouTube to Rumble says they have much higher numbers of followers on Rumble. And I'll give you an example of that. Somebody who has a show over there is Dan Bongino. So Dan Bongino, when you look at his numbers, he literally runs his live the same time every single day, and he has 50 to 80,000 people watching live. How tremendous would that be if you could even get 200, 300, 400 watching live every day and subscribing to that subscription, that membership, and then you're creating content just for them behind the paywall. The other person who's really good at this is Tim Pool. He has a huge membership with that. And by the way, both of those guys got deleted from YouTube. So they're over on here. So there are a lot of possibilities to monetize with Rumble that you don't have available to you on YouTube. So something to consider. Doesn't mean you can't be on both. If you've created the video, the only thing Rumble doesn't have is the shorts, but there's no reason why you couldn't upload your short video over there as content as well for promotional materials. The other person that's over there that has a really robust is Dave Rubin. So he's really big in the LGBTQ community. Blogs and magazine articles. So this is the time to have a blog on your website, updated and sharing it. The other thing that you can do is contract someone who has submission guidelines, and I'll talk about that a little at the end, who can write an article for you that is compliant, and they run the submission. Now, I will tell you when I get to the end, if a PR person does this, an agency, they're going to charge you $5,000, $6,000 for something like this. So there are other ways, and I'll talk about it at the end with Sarah, that you can now do that for much, much less. And those are really national magazines and niched magazines where you can get a lot of viewers, a lot of eyeballs, because not only do those people get the physical magazine, but they also get the online version of it as well. Your own magazine, I'm going to talk about this more at the end. If you're somebody who really wants to have a lead magnet that goes out every single month, having your own magazine is a great idea. And it's not hard. It's not difficult at all. You guys, we do it every month, and it costs me about $200 a month to produce. And that's with the promo materials too. So having that magazine is a way to bring in new clients, to do a little storytelling about in your niche. So I just interviewed Sheila Kennedy, who has a new magazine. She's a book developer, and she has a new magazine that's about storytelling. So she's having people from all walks of life submit, and she produces their stories in the magazine. So, you know, that's something you could do. Carrie, I'm sorry I'm picking on you so much today. You know, Carrie could get together with the dietitian community or other practitioners in her community to have a theme, a monthly theme, and, you know, 5 or 6 contributors, maybe even a little bit more, on, you know, what sugar does to your body and how to break the sugar habit. If you guys can't tell, when I worked with Carrie on her book, I did 4 months of no sugar. And I was addicted. The first 20 days killed me. Actually, the first 10 killed me. So, you know, getting together and having a magazine like that, a promotional piece every month, is really great. my magazine, I actually work with my power partners and other people in the platform building, publishing, and book marketing industry that I bring together to write articles. So it's not like you have to sit down and write the whole magazine. You get other people to write your stories, and then you put it together and have it designed. So it really is much easier than people think it is. Audio. So if you're really camera shy, go over to Clubhouse and, do a recording over there. You're interacting with people. You could also do this on Zoom, where, you open up your Zoom and you don't submit your video to YouTube. So when I do my podcast, mine actually goes the audio. We use the audio, the video, and the blog. It is it's transcribed into a blog as well. So we have all the learning modalities there to do this. But, doing something with audio, you could take just the audio portion of your Zoom that you opened up and did a YouTube and make it into a podcast. So lots of stuff to do with audio as well. The other thing, which I know a lot of you probably aren't thinking about yet, is one of the things that happens inside a recessionary period like this is there going to be, if you're talking to someone about coaching, you're probably going to get a lot of no's when you have a big ticket, but people will gobble up the smaller programs. So you can actually record something for your course and do a downloadable $27, $47, $97 really robust course to do with that as well. So there's lots of stuff you can do with that audio that you can use in other places and repurpose. Podcasting. Podcasting, again, super easy. I use Poditize, which is, for a beginner that's not sure if they want to do this, might be a little bit expensive. Literally, you open up your Zoom, you record, you have it edited, you go over to someplace like SoundCloud, and if you've created your artwork, cover, all of that, SoundCloud, you can load it in and you can produce your own podcast with easy peasy. Now, it may not be as professional as some of the other platforms, but the good news is that not everybody cares about that. It's sort of like the YouTube videos. When you have something that's scripted and really pretty, people aren't interested because it's not showing the real you. I think that probably makes sense to most of you. It's part of being authentic. So don't worry about, are people going to watch it? Do I look professional? You're not expected to look like the guy on MSNBC in your coat and tie. You just get on there and you be you. But that's a really great way to get your information out there as well, and find those subscribers that are niche to your community. Hello, Kitty. What is your cat's name, Carrie? She can't find her unmute button.
This is Helen. Helen is blind with one eye.
Oh, yes. Okay. On to the rest of this. Okay, live trainings. Live trainings are really easy, and you can repurpose them very well. We do a live training the first Friday of every month. All I need is Zoom, a registration portal, which I use Zoom for that, and streaming software. So you can use something like Restream or StreamYard. Both of them are about $20 a month, and they will literally make it so you can connect to a Facebook. There's another one, the name escapes me right now. A Facebook, a LinkedIn. You can go live on YouTube with it. So there are a lot of possibilities there, and it's not hard. It's just like doing a regular interview, only you hit an extra button you set up in Zoom for custom streaming. The great part about the custom streaming, and I encourage all of you to do it, is you slowly start to see people show up. At first, it can be a little slow. It's like onesie, twosies. I think the YouTube training we had this month, I think we had almost a dozen people on. We started them, I think, in June of last year, and they've steadily been growing over time. Here's why the live trainings are great, because you get to talk to those people one-on-one. Everything else I showed you is a passive, you don't really know who's watching. As people start registering for the live trainings, And you do them probably on a monthly basis. I wouldn't go over more than that because you don't want to wear people out. But then there's Q&A. We actually had on this week, people stayed after to ask questions because I did feel like I had to, be really cognizant of the podcast time and cut it off in an hour because nobody's going to listen. But here's the thing. Here's what we use those live trainings for. In addition to that one-on-one contact we have with people, we take it, and when we put it over on YouTube, now we're building our YouTube channel with it as well. So that's the other thing about Podetize, where we use those for our podcast. We're on 21 different podcast channels. We're on Apple TV, Roku TV, and YouTube. And guess what? I never touch my YouTube channel. I probably couldn't even tell you how to log in. So, but that shouldn't stop you because it's not hard. It's just a description. You put in your shorts, and that's all you do is just upload the video. So there's lots to go on there. So here's the other thing. Every piece of content media you produce, you should have an opt-in for. So if you're going to produce that magazine, have an opt-in, use it as a list builder. If you're going to do those live trainings, use that registration, which you can get right off of Zoom, pull those people out and put them on your email list to start sending them good content once a month. I'm sorry, once a week, not once a month. You should be feeding them content at least once a week. So everything you do that you choose to do to have your own media, be sure there is a piece of content where people are opting in and you are loving on them, because those lists are actually used for the book launch as well. So it's really important to do the opt-in. Linda, I'll pick on somebody besides Carrie. With Linda, we actually sent people, even before her book was out, we did an opt-in page to be on her list with a drip campaign behind it. And that drip campaign was connected when it was over. It's connected to her regular list. And now she feeds those people content every single week as well. So you don't have to wait until your book is out to have that piece of opt-in content for your book. So that don't wait, get it now. That's one of the things we did with Linda, went through traffic school as well. Repurposing. The beauty of all this is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. A long form video or even the short form video, take them right over to opus.pro, break them into short videos. Those are really great promotional pieces and just pieces to share a little bit of content on any of the social media platforms. Have your video and audio transcribed into blogs and articles. By doing that, now you're creating a learning experience for those people who prefer written word. I personally prefer audio because I read all day, but I know a lot of people like those soft cover books. They want that piece in their hand. We have several people a month that ask if they can get that magazine we put out, if they can get a hard copy of it. We don't want to do that because with all the color in it, it would be really expensive to produce, but we enabled the ability to be able to download it. So now they can print it out on their computer if they're people who really want to read it more that way. Live trainings can be reproduced in all of the above. We take our live trainings, we make it into a podcast. So now people that didn't show up live, they can listen on the podcast. The podcast is broken down into an article, and sometimes we actually hand off our blog that's attached to that, and we hand it off to Sarah and have her write an article for the magazine. So there's all sorts of ways we can use that, and she also writes articles for other magazines besides ours. So, she can position it, cut it down, do whatever she needs to do to be able to submit to another magazine. And then the shorts can be used for materials all over the place. We actually saw on our bestseller campaign, we typically get around 100 to 150 views a month on our podcast. It's especially big on the live trainings because at the beginning, we preface that if you want to see the slides, you want to see the screenshots, go over to YouTube to see the live trainings. But We also are able to make those into shorts for other things. So with the bestseller campaigns, we've been doing shorts. I put the shorts in on a Sunday, and by Tuesday I had over 300 views. So it really is a good way to work with that. And we had subscribers as well, new subscribers. So those shorts give people a glimpse using Opus into what you're up to. And if people want to learn more, you know, they can definitely go over and find you in other places to do that. So all of this, whether the reason we call what we do author traffic school on the traffic end of it is because you can create all this content, but if you don't learn how to drive that traffic to it, you're going to have some problems. So it's really important that you guys create more content and learn how to move that traffic into it, because as we get into tougher marketing times, getting that feedback, talking to people, looking at the comments is going to give you insight into what is it that people want. Now you can create exactly the right product at the right price. So if you're getting a lot of no's at, you know, $997 or more, maybe you come in with something that's a little less that people can consume on their own. So it really does become more important from more content, more comments, more listening, especially on lives, because people will tell you what problem they're having. And, you know, you'll immediately get that light bulb going off in your head to, you know, what to do with it. So, whoops. So some things we have upcoming that I just want to share. You know about the app for Jared. We have a live training coming up on October 6th, and it is a lot plan. It's basically platform planning for 2024 for authors and thought leaders. And the trainings only last about 45 minutes to an hour, and you can go register at bammeglivetraining.com. And if you, well, we won't go there. I'll wait for you guys to listen to the podcast. We also have magazine articles and submission in a done for you and done with you basis now. We have one person who writes for Forbes, who if you can talk to if you want to have her write and submit to Forbes. We have another person who will write with you, and she can do submissions to different magazines out there depending on how you're niched. So she should be coming up with a list of magazines soon that you guys can choose from. Another thing coming up, well, we've already done with 2 clients and gotten really great results, is a bestseller campaign with a shorts add-on. So I actually have you go through your book, create the shorts, and we send them off to Podetize to have them stylized, branded with your book, where to buy your book on the bottom of them. And that's something that, again, will entice people to buy that book, but also understand what the content is the book. So someone like Carrie, it was really catchy book titles or book chapter titles, could do some really, really fun videos. If you haven't read her book, it's funny, it's humorous, and nobody likes to talk about their diet. So in that respect, it's humorous information. And then the last thing that we have just started with Shannon Proceed's group is we're finding that a lot of you authors, you have no idea what to keep, where your zone of genius is, and what to hand off to a virtual assistant. So we actually are starting a business with virtual assistants for authors that, you know, we can speak the author language. We know what you need, so we can write copy and hand it off to that virtual assistant who jumps on your platform, whatever you want to do, and creates the stuff for you. We just had it with Linda just did this, and it was a bit of a hassle, and Christine did too. And I think Linda will agree with this. It was the language. So when you have us in the middle and you're asking a virtual assistant for something, Linda was asking for something that didn't make sense to the VA. So I got involved, clarified, and then we got it all cleared up. So that's the benefit of using a virtual assistant that is author funnel oriented, is if you're not asking for the right thing, I can jump in and say, yeah, this is what we're asking for. So sorry about that, VA, but she'll get it. She's new. So that's it. That's it. Any questions?
Actually, there is in the chat. So let me pull that up. Linda is asking, Rumble is connected to what.com?
Locals.com.
Okay. And she's also asking, what do you charge for the live training?
For free.
Oh,
and you mean for me to teach you how to do the live trainings?
I think that's the question. Yeah.
Oh, no, the live trainings are free. We do them, first Friday of every month. You've been to some of them, Linda.
Have I?
Yeah. I talk to you on the call and I go right in and put you into VCTA as a registered.
Those are the questions. There's just a comment from Trish that says, thanks so much. I'll watch the remaining replay. Appreciate the wealth of info and inspiration, which you always bring to us. And I'm just so grateful because you're so articulate and you're so on to everything. And this is really important. The technology is changing from day to day. People using old habits and techniques and methods are not producing the same results if they're not up to all the changes. And there's like I was saying, really every moment there's a new nuance, a new either something's not working as well as it used to because it's just not, as popular, or there's something new that's introduced. So that's really great. I appreciate it. Does anyone else have any last questions for Juliet?
Just a comment on that. One of the things we do in traffic school is we really deep dive into your zone of genius. So a lot of you guys are solopreneurs, which means you're the closer, you're the rainmaker. So when we dig into that, that's why we came up with the VA service now, because if we can get you to the point where, you have all this marketing going on and it's running automatically, or it's running very easily, that lets you run in your zone of genius and have a little bit more work-life balance, which is really important. I remember when I started my business, I left corporate America and I was thinking, oh, this is going to be fun. And by month 4, I was frazzled. There's just too much to learn and too much to do. And when you're the closer, it gets a little bit exhausting. And as a note, digital marketing changes about every 9 to 15 months, like clockwork. So if you have old marketing that you feel isn't working, it's probably because there's something new that's taken its place. And a lot of that is AI driven. And like that Opus.pro, that's an AI program. So literally it will do the cuts and the transcription on the cuts for you. So there are a lot of brand new tools out that'll really save you a lot of time if you're a do-it-yourselfer.
I'm in total agreement. At first I had a lot of resistance to AI until I've been working with, Steve has been, my coach has been using some incredible programs that have helped me really shape the messaging and such. But even if you just don't want any AI shaping your message, or just for the distribution and the speed of distribution, it's pretty amazing, and things are moving rather swiftly each day. So this is great.
Yeah.
Media is really, really the key. It is really what's driving book sales. People are not buying books in bookstores. It's really, last time I checked, it was like 20% retail book sales. And usually the people, and a lot of that's point of purchase, they walk in, they say, oh, Oprah has a new book because it's face out and there's a lot of money behind it. But people aren't really going into the stacks. You think about it, why would you go to a bookstore and look for the stacks to find a book on a particular subject? So it's really kind of forcing us authors to become media. I don't know if media stars or celebrities. That's not as easy perhaps, but to have a comfort with producing media. And Juliet just has, we have, such a great network. I'm so glad that, people like Shannon and everyone that's in your network really understands and on top of things. So any other questions? Anyone, everyone has Juliet's contact info. Definitely make sure. And if you don't, I'll put you in touch, because, it does take, a bit of a window of time, I think, to really get the media right and what you're going to use for your launch. So don't think that you can wait till the book is out. Oh, I think now I'll look at what I'm going to do for media. You want to be, when Juliet and I first met, we both agreed that 6 months, at least a 6-month window of creating awareness. And then I know in one of your presentations, that's the first stage of it, then we move into how to get somebody to subscribe. And then certainly the stage is once you've built a community, is awareness. They like what you do and they feel comfortable with you. They've digested your media and maybe interactive experiences. And then, you know, they're in a much suitable place to want to buy your book, do programs with you. So just stick with it, everyone. I mean, it's sometimes it feels daunting, but so does life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Great. Any last questions in the last few moments here? Anyone have anything to share, or questions, or just anything that in our group here that you'd like to share? No?
No questions, just a thank you. I have to run.
All right. Good to see you.
Thanks for
everyone. I
inviting.
think we're there, and we'll send the replay.
Okay. Yeah. So I do want to mention too, next year on the magazine, if you guys aren't signed up for the magazine, it's breakthroughauthormagazine.com. One of our focuses for next year is to avoid the 55. And Linda probably knows what this means. Probably Carrie knows too, even though she just got off. One of the things that really prevents our authors from making money is we have to give 55% to the distributors of the retail price. So imagine you have a $20 book and you have to give $11 to someone else. Then you have to print the book. So, and the price of paper keeps going up. So we're really going to focus on those areas where you can buy a quantity of books and take them out and make your own money with them. Because once you paid for the books, you go out, like, you get to keep that 55% in your pocket, which actually makes the book much more profitable than the, $1, $2, $3, $4 that people are making now.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's definitely it's a challenge, and I think that, people, the more you take ownership, it's really what's happening. I mean, I just mentioned in the last few moments, I talked to somebody just a few weeks ago. I'm not necessarily going to work with him, but we had a great conversation. He was the CEO of Citgo Gas and spent 5 years as a prisoner of war, or what you want to call it, abducted, or as in Venezuela, and I imagine that, blindfolded and things, horrific things, and he's already been on like Anderson Cooper. And so I talked to him. He goes, I'm not going to traditional publisher. It's like, what are they doing for you? The reality is the distribution bookstores, which no one's going and buying books anyway. So really, that is the key. And, not everyone's going to go on Anderson Cooper, have a story like his. Hopefully you won't have that story. Not a story I would want to have. I'd rather not be on Anderson Cooper and not spend 5 years of my life in Venezuela as a hostage. But that's happening more often. Even John Azaroff, well, he's publishing with Waterside, and he's a pretty big name. He was in The Secret. So I think people are moving away from the big, monolithic publishers, and I think this is really great how we can take more ownership. So more masterminds. We're going to keep doing them every month, and no matter how long you work with us, you're always going to be invited. Everyone that gets these invites is someone that I feel there's never too late. If your book came out 2 years ago or whatever, it's evergreen now. The only reason why books aren't evergreen has to do with the retail shelf space. You have the season, and they move that. That's like in clothing, and now they have the new season. But almost most of you, there's no book that's really dated. So just stay with it, and appreciate you all. And Juliet, absolutely appreciate you. Somebody's got a hand. Oh, it's Juliet. Are you waving, or do you have a question?
Got to share this great stats you had for me this morning. We forgot to share them. The View and Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, well, those numbers may be a little off. Maybe it's 7 million, but that's one thing that really blew my mind. Is we're still, people, let's say myself, because I'm, kind of back from the old days. Television, you want to be on television, you want to get on, on a show like The View. Wouldn't it be great if you're an author? Well, what's happening now is people like Joe Rogan, who I probably did it in his basement with no money, he has 3 times the audience of The View. So traditional media, it's not always really where you're going to get the best opportunity to get in front of an audience. So, there's more and more opportunities. Obviously, there's more podcasts and such, but just stay with your messaging, get your messaging as tight as possible, and have fun. That's as much as you can do. If you haven't created a full, spreadsheet of all the possible media ops that exists in podcasts and all that, do that. And then, being part of this community and Juliet's services and community is going to really make a difference. So those are some of the things that are really, you kind of need that support. So thank you again, and everyone that's watching on the replay. And I think that's it for now.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks,
Good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks
Juliet,
again,
for a
Juliet.
very informative hour.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Jared, can you
Good
turn the
luck,
record?
Lindy. Really excited about your book.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Take care.
everyone.